How's it going, everyone? It's Hobby for Marshall. Today is February 16th, 2021, and obviously in this video, we're going to talk about this next major snowstorm that's going to impact a lot of the same areas that just got impacted by this current snowstorm, Winter Storm Erda. But before I begin, make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather-related content. Make sure to like if you like this video, and make sure to turn on post notifications if you want to see even more weather-related content. So let's begin by first taking a look at the the European model, and you see that there's a large area of snow, and it's affecting a lot of big cities too, like New York City and Boston, and even Philadelphia is going to get involved with this snowstorm. And we do see snowfall rates heavy at times associated with this low pressure system. We do see the darker blue contours, which represent very high snowfall rates, and it's expected to dump a lot of snow head into the northeast, and this is going at around 78 hours out, so we're around 3 days out from this storm. So the confidence is definitely increasing as more time is as we head closer and closer to the actual event of the storm when it impacts the Northeast. However, there are some uncertainties that I will detail in this video regarding the forecast, because it could make a huge difference in what you experience. But let's first take a look at the timing of this, see what is exactly going to help induce a lot of this snowstorm activity. Let me show you guys the GFS model, because it gives a good idea of where the cold air is and the warm air is, and it really separates it with this 540 millibar contour line, and it sort of helps me exemplify what is really gonna create this storm. And if we take a look moving forward, you see 18 hours from now, we see another low pressure system come off the Northwest Pacific, where we see a decent amount of snow throughout the Rocky Mountain ranges. And however, once this low pressure system comes out of the Rockies, we do see a pretty large band of snow throughout Oklahoma and Texas. Again, a lot of the same areas that just got pounded hard by this last snowstorm, where Houston received one of the coldest temperatures on record, with a lot of snow and ice creating power outages, from what I heard from a couple people I know in Houston. And you see that there's a lot and then this snow current continues to expand as it heads further eastward, and it's as a result of the unstable air that's going to be located right around the southeast, because of course we do have that cold air that's going to be behind this storm, that very cold Arctic air, and it's going to interact with that very warm Gulf of Mexico air that's located in the southeast, where it contains a lot of water vapor, and that water vapor will be forced aloft into the atmosphere to induce a lot of that thunderstorm activity throughout the southeast. And it's definitely something to keep in mind, because it will definitely strengthen this storm even further and further, and that will create just very unstable conditions throughout the East Coast. If we continue to move forward, we do see the rain begins to expand even further. We do see that rain continue on into the northeast and throughout the southeast, and we do see some snow right around the mid-Atlantic, right around Virginia, right around Maryland, and because there's going to be that ridge that's going to be just staying over the same area in the northeast, and it's bringing a lot of northwesterly winds to keep that Arctic air in the northeast. So a lot of that rain will be all snow throughout the northeast, and based off of the past several runs in the computer models, they're now leaning towards bringing the low pressure further eastward, which would mean it's going to be there's much more likely of an all snow event for the coastal cities. However, there are still going to be some cities where they're going to experience mixing, like New York City. You're still forecast to get a little bit of mixing with rain. So is Philadelphia. However, the duration of how much snow you receive in New York City and the New York City metropolitan area is much longer than originally expected, because this was expected to just initially start as snow and then mainly be a rain event all throughout. But now it's leaning more towards the direction that this will be a long duration snow event, with a little bit of mixing later as the low pressure system moves further and further up along the East Coast. And you see that the swath of snow expands. We're going to see increase in stability from not only the western side of the storm, but at the northern side as well, where there's going to be a lot of southeast southwesterly winds that are going to interact with these northwesterly winds that's bringing the Arctic air further south, and that's going to create an area of convergence on the northern side to bring a lot of that humid water vapor from the Gulf Stream upwards into the northeast, which will allow for a lot of convergence, a lot of snowfall, and just very high precipitation rates and condensation occurring right around the northeast, and it's just a lot of snow. And the European model is also agreeing with this, which is definitely something we want to see, because that gives us more and more confidence regarding this forecast. If we move 78 hours from now, this is where the European expects the low pressure system to be located right around North Carolina, but the swath of the snow and the majority of the snow and rainfall will be just north of the system. And if we compare the European to the GFS model 78 hours from now, they're almost exactly similar. The low pressure is like well far up north of the Carolinas. However, while that might look like a major margin of error, a major difference between the distance of each other, it's this low pressure system that the European model is showing is expected to jump within the next 6 hours from this time. So it isn't like a major leap or a major gap disparity in distance like the computer models might suggest. So I want you guys to keep that in mind, that just because there's large difference in terms of the low pressure system of these two, do not pay attention to the low pressure system, to its location, and pay attention more so to the precipitation, because that's where the majority of concern lies, not where the low pressure is actually located. And where it's located won't really make a difference in terms of the timing, because it is expected to jump into the northeast either way within a couple hours. So while it might seem like GFS model is taking this storm a lot faster in the northeast, it isn't a lot faster like the computer models might suggest based off of the distance disparity between the two computer models. So you guys definitely need to keep that in mind. However, what are the factors that could potentially change your forecast in the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic? Well, it really, again, all depends on the jet stream orientation, how strong this ridge is, because if it's a little stronger, then the storm will move up northward a little bit earlier, and that would mean that it's going to be more of a rain event for a lot of the East Coast, especially the East Coast cities. However, if this were to move, if this ridge in the right around Bermuda is a little weaker and a little smaller, then that would mean that this storm will move far more to the east, and that would mean more of an off-snow event for the entire Northeast. At this point, I don't expect any drastic changes to really change the forecast that much. Like, I don't expect the low pressure system that's currently forecasted to bring snow along New York City to be suddenly an all rain event. I think that is unlikely, almost completely out of the possibilities at this point, that New York City won't experience any snow from this, as it's likely you guys will, along the Northeast, will experience snow in some way, shape, or form. The question is, how long will you experience that snow duration? And again, any small differences in the low pressure tracking could make a pretty big difference in terms of what you experience, especially in the Interstate 95 corridor, where it's going to be another one of those storms where it's going to be difficult to forecast how much snow you'll exactly receive, because if the low pressure were to shift 20 miles to the east, and that would mean that it could make the difference between let's say 3 inches of snow in New York City to potentially over a foot of snow. So there's still a lot of uncertainty regarding the forecast for those along the Interstate 95 corridor. However, I'd say just in the northwest of that, it's pretty certain you guys will experience snow. However, it's definitely at least good to keep in mind of the track forecast, because again, if the track changes, although it might be an off snow event for you guys, there might be that chance that you might not experience some most snow if there were any minor changes in the forecast. So you guys need to keep in watch of this forecast. We need to keep in watch of this ridge, see how strong it is to determine where exactly it'll go. However, at this point, do not expect any major drastic changes to the forecast. Let's say over, like, I'd say maybe over 100 miles, because we're 3 days out. The computer models are getting a little bit more certain with this, and they've been persisting on this idea for a very long time. So I don't expect any major changes in the forecast to occur over the next several days regarding this storm. And you guys need to, however, it's still good to keep in mind of the difference, any small differences in the forecast that's going to happen in the near future. We never see a computer model stay exactly the same for 3 days straight, as the forecast will change depending on the data they receive, the computers receive. So we need to keep in track of that. But let's take a look at the timing of this as of right now, and this is going to take a little bit long to load. But yeah, you see there's a large swath of snow throughout the Northeast, heavy snow throughout New Jersey, Long Island, and southern New England. It's also experiencing a lot of the heavy snow, so you guys definitely need to keep that in mind. And we do see some thunderstorm activity throughout the Southeast. That's also a worry. And heading forward, you see Tuesday afternoon to Tuesday night, we see the snow extend to Oklahoma, but then we see it encounter a little bit of unstable air. So a lot of the same areas that just got impacted by a heavy snowstorm in the Southeast, such as southern Arkansas, northern Louisiana, will again receive some wintry precipitation whether in the form of wintry mix or more snow, especially in southern Arkansas. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. And then headed into Wednesday nighttime, we see the snow extend to the Ohio River Valley, pretty much right at its doorstep. Memphis is again receiving snow, and a little bit of Nashville as well. And then headed into Thursday morning, we see that snow extend, and it's going to be worse expected on Thursday afternoon for a lot of the mid-Atlantic, so that's Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, and southern New England. And then even further than that, expect the worst to be Thursday night for a lot of you guys in New England. So in terms of the current snowfall forecast based off of both of the major computer models, I pretty much synthesized their information to make it into one map. You see heavy snow, 6 to 12 inches of snow throughout the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic is currently expected. It could change. Maybe the snowfall isn't forecasted to be as heavy, but as of right now, a large area of 6 to 12 inches extending from Virginia, West Virginia, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, pretty much the entire Northeast. So this would be an impactful storm if this forecast were to come for fruition, where it wouldn't be a ton of snow, but like we've seen areas get over a foot of snow in the Northeast. However, it will just affect just a large area, pretty much the entire Northeast, with 6 to 12 inches of snow. And I'd say in localized areas, you might even experience more than a foot of snow, as that's definitely not out of possibility, especially since the GFS model is currently forecasting the heaviest snow to be in Virginia, which is quite interesting. However, the European is leaning towards not bringing as much snow to Virginia and areas in the southern Northeast. So there's still uncertainty regarding how much snow will fall right around Virginia, I'd say. But for a lot of the Northeast, it's becoming more certain that it's going to be a 6 to 12 inch snow event, or maybe 5 inches or 4 in some localized areas. But I think for the most part, you guys should expect 6 to 12 inches, 3 to 6 just to the west of that, and then 1 to 3 throughout the Midwest, and another 3 to 6 inches expected in the Southeast. So this is expected to be another major snowstorm. You guys need to keep in watch of that, and just stay tuned for more and more weather forecasts regarding this snowstorm, and we need to keep track of this storm. But anyways, guys, I thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather-related content. Make sure to like if you like this video, and make sure to turn on post notifications if you want to see even more weather-related content. And I hope you guys have a good day.